What's up, Lions Nation? Yesterday, for a few moments, it felt like a nightmare had arrived. Starters going down on the field, the crowd falling silent, everyone's heart in their throat. But what looked like a major blow turned out to be news that keeps this season's fire alive. The injuries were scary, but the good news is that none of them are season-ending. We're talking about recoveries measured in weeks, not months. In other words, the roar is still strong, and the dream is alive. Now let me ask for a little favor from you, the ones who make this channel grow every single day. Hit that like button, because it helps us reach even more fans. And I really want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. How confident are you in this defense, even with key absences in the tough games ahead? This space is yours, true fans, and together we're telling the story of a season that still promises so much. It's the kind of week where every Lions fan is sitting on the edge of their seat, waiting to hear whether the momentum continues to build or if trouble could be around the corner. Yesterday's game left us with plenty to talk about, but let's start with what had every fan holding their breath: the injuries to Tyrion Arnold and DJ Reed. At first glance, it looked like disaster was about to strike. When you see a starter go down and the trainers rush in, you feel your stomach drop. For a moment, it felt like the season's hopes might have taken a massive hit. But here's the good news. Both situations aren't as bad as they first appeared, and the Lions might just have dodged a bullet. The update on DJ Reed is the biggest piece of news. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, and while he is a candidate for injured reserve, no surgery will be required. That's huge. We're talking about a 4-week IR stint, not a season-ending situation. And when you factor in the bye week right after, this timeline starts to look a whole lot better. The expectation is that Reed will be able to return fully rested right after the bye. For a moment yesterday, it looked like his year might be over. The way he went down, the way the crowd fell silent, it felt like a nightmare unfolding. And yet, here we are today talking about a recovery measured in weeks, not months. For a playoff run, for the games that really matter down the stretch, that's a massive sigh of relief. Now, as for Tyrion Arnold, the report is far more optimistic. He should be good to go. Nothing long-term, nothing that's going to derail his season. It seems like the short week played a role in the team being banged up across the board. This is football. You expect bruises, soreness, and setbacks. But the fear is always the catastrophic injury that changes the season. The Lions didn't suffer that here, and that's the type of news fans can celebrate. Of course, the injuries mean some challenges ahead. The next stretch of games is not a cakewalk. The Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
are all on deck. These are tough opponents, and not having DJ Reed available in those contests will sting. He's the team's best cornerback, and when you're lining up against some of the league's most dangerous quarterbacks and receivers, you want him on the field. But take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Would you rather have him risk aggravating a hamstring now, or have him fully healthy for the late-season battles and the playoffs? The answer is clear. It's about the long game, and the Lions medical staff knows it. The fact that the Lions avoided the worst-case scenario here is massive. Fans were already bracing themselves, remembering how easily a season can get derailed. When Reed went down, you could feel it, that collective sinking feeling, like the air had been sucked out of the stadium. One fan said it perfectly: it felt like their soul left their body in that moment. That's the emotional weight of seeing a leader on defense collapse in pain. And yet today, we're talking about his return. Not in 2026, not maybe next year, just after the bye. That's nothing short of incredible. But let's not ignore what's happening on the field around these storylines. The Lions are sitting atop the NFC North, right where they belong. The Packers tied the Cowboys, the Vikings stumbled overseas in Dublin, and the Bears managed to win, but none of it changes the standings. Detroit is 3-1, standing alone in first place, and that's not something anyone can dismiss. This isn't luck. This isn't a fluke. It's the result of disciplined football, smart coaching, and a roster that's proving itself week after week. 3 wins out of 4 games. Who in their right mind wouldn't take that at this stage? The playoff picture is already starting to take shape. And if the season ended today, the Lions would hold the number 3 seed in the NFC. That's not a dream. That's reality. The 49ers, a team many consider a major rival, just got demolished. They look bad, really bad. Suddenly, they don't feel like the looming monster everyone should fear. The Eagles? Sure, they're a threat. The Buccaneers? They just lost to those same Eagles. The Rams and Seahawks? They're hanging around at 3-1 too, but none of them look untouchable. If you want to be real, the Lions are right where they need to be. And that's not just about making the postseason. This is about chasing the dream, the Super Bowl dream. And at 3-1, there's no reason for anyone in Detroit to feel anything but confident. Think about it. No sacks given up for 3 straight games, even while facing the #1 defense in football in the Browns. Jared Goff hasn't been perfect, but he's been protected. This offensive line, anchored by Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, and Graham Glasgow, is proving it belongs in the conversation for the best in the league. 0 sacks against that defensive front? That's extraordinary. You can nitpick here and there. You can talk about opening drive defense being soft or a drop pass or two, but the foundation of this team is rock solid. And how about the stock report coming out of this week? Dan Campbell is turning heads, showing sideline-to-sideline presence and improving every game. Aiden Hutchinson racked up 2 sacks, yes, against backup tackles, but 2 sacks are 2 sacks. Khalif Raymond delivered with a punt return touchdown and looked sharper than ever on special teams. Jahmyr Gibbs continues to flash playmaking ability, nearly breaking into the end zone on a tough catch and run. And St. Brown? He's St. Brown. Steady, reliable, dominant. Now, I'm not ignoring the challenges. Jameson Williams had 2 drops, and the chemistry with Jared Goff just wasn't there. But let's be honest, it happens. Players have off days, and Montgomery's workload dropped, not because he's losing a step, but because the team leaned on Gibbs for outside runs on a short week. This isn't a negative trend, it's just strategy. So here's the bottom line. This team is showing resilience, depth, and the kind of grit that wins championships. They faced injuries, tough defenses, and still stand tall at 3-1. They're leading the division. They're climbing the NFC ladder. And the energy around this team feels different. It feels like we're watching something special take shape. What about you? Are you relieved that DJ Reed's injury isn't season-ending? Do you feel confident in this team's ability to handle the next few games without him? And most importantly, do you believe these Lions have what it takes to hold on to the North and make a real playoff run? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because the roar is getting louder every single week. If you really stop and think about it, this is one of those rare seasons where the stars might actually be aligning for Detroit. Not perfectly, of course, nothing in the NFL ever comes easy, but in the right ways. Look at how the team has been tested so far. For games into the season, they've already had to face the league's top defense, adjust to injuries, and adapt to quick turnarounds in scheduling. And yet here they are, standing strong, holding their ground at the top of the division. That's what separates contenders from pretenders. Contenders find ways to win through adversity. Let's dive deeper into some of the performances that deserve more credit than the headlines might give. Derek Barnes has quietly become one of the most reliable pieces on this defense. He doesn't always get the attention of a Hutchinson or a Campbell, but he's been a steady force, getting after the quarterback and closing lanes in the run game. Alex Anzalone, too, continues to bring energy and leadership, flying around the field and proving he's more than capable of anchoring this linebacker unit. These aren't flashy names for national media, but inside Detroit, fans know just how critical they are. And speaking of leadership, Jared Goff deserves recognition for what he's doing behind center. Did he have an interception last game? Sure, but context matters. He was hit as he released the ball, and that's going to mess with anyone's pass. Beyond that, he's showing poise, pocket awareness, and an ability to keep the offense moving even under pressure. Most importantly, he hasn't been sacked in 3 straight games. Do you realize how rare that is in today's NFL? That speaks volumes about both his awareness and the absolute dominance of the offensive line. It's no wonder analysts across the league are starting to whisper about Detroit having a top 3 unit up front. Then there's the pride of special teams. Khalif Raymond's punt return touchdown wasn't just points on the board. It was a momentum swing, the kind of spark that can ignite a sideline. Special teams doesn't always grab headlines, but moments like that remind you how vital it is to winning football. Every phase of the game is contributing to this team's success, and that's what makes them dangerous. They don't have to rely on one superstar or one unit carrying the load. They're balanced, deep, and adaptable. Of course, not everything is perfect. The defense has struggled with opening drives all season, giving up points early before settling in. That's an issue that needs correcting, especially against elite quarterbacks. You can't afford to start in a hole every week and expect to win consistently. But the fact that we're nitpicking opening drives while the team is 3-1 should tell you something about how far the Lions have come. A year or two ago, these conversations would have been about whether the season was already slipping away. Now, it's about fine-tuning and sharpening edges for a playoff run. Let's also not overlook how the front office has built this roster, adding depth across the line, investing in young playmakers like Gibbs and Campbell, keeping veterans like Decker and Glasgow. This is a formula for sustainable success. The mix of youth and experience is paying off right now, and you can see it in the way the locker room carries itself. There's confidence, there's swagger, but there's also discipline. That balance is rare, and it's something Lions fans have been craving for decades. And for those still worried about DJ Reed's absence in the coming weeks, think about what it means long-term. Yes, you'll miss him against the Bengals and the Chiefs. No doubt about it. But having him fresh and ready for the final stretch, when playoff seeding is on the line, is far more important. The bye week could not have come at a better time. A hamstring injury can linger if rushed, but with the rest built in, Reed has the chance to come back at full strength. And when he does, he'll rejoin a secondary that has already shown growth compared to last season. His leadership, his ball skills, his presence, those will all be crucial when the games matter most. This isn't just about surviving injuries or celebrating a 3-1 start. This is about the larger vision. The Lions are no longer the team trying to convince the league they belong. They do belong, and they're proving it every week. They're not sneaking up on anyone. Opponents know exactly who they are playing when Detroit comes to town, and they're still getting beat. That's a shift in identity, a transformation from underdog to legitimate contender. Fans have waited so long for this, for Sundays to feel like this. For the first time in a long time, the NFC North runs through Detroit. And when you think about the schedule ahead, the opportunities, and the way this team is built, it's hard not to believe that this roar is only getting louder. Every block, every tackle, every touchdown, it's all part of something bigger, something historic in the making. So here's where I leave it to you. Do you believe this is finally the year where the Lions not only win the North but make a real push in January? Do you think the depth, the resilience, and the unity we're seeing can carry them past the NFC's heavyweights? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just a season, it feels like the beginning of an era. And the question now is simple. Are you ready to ride it all the way with this team?